Puja madam, please share the link in the group.
Yes, sir, I'm doing that. Yes, sir, yes, sir.
We can admit all now. Shibu sir, shall we start exactly by 6?
Fine.
Okay. Good evening, all. We are starting today's program. As you all know that as teachers, we want ourselves to be best teachers, a love teacher to all the students. And also, as a person also, we wish to be successful in our career as well as our personal life also. Keeping all these things in mind, we have designed this training program, Happy English and Education Web Series for English language empowerment and soft skills. This is the 10th training in this series. Today, it will be watched on YouTube and also by Zoom. Each program has been witnessed by around 150 to 200 live participation, and after that, the YouTube link was viewed by around 1,000, more than 1,000 people, almost all the training programs. Okay. Today we are going to discuss about one of the important areas, that is how memory works. Today's trainer is one of the leading trainers of India, a well-known corporate trainer, Mr. Shibu Damodar from Kerala, Cochin. I would like to welcome him to this training program. A warm welcome to you, sir. Shibu, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And I would like to also welcome the chief guest of today's program, the most respected retired lecturer of Udupi Diet, Manjula B. Madam. Welcome, Madam.
Thank you, sir.
And also, I would like to welcome all the participant teachers who are on Zoom and also on YouTube from every corner of the state. I would like to extend my warm welcome to all of you. And at the same time, I would like to welcome the co-participants or the collaborative partner of this training program, Swastika National School. We have the Pujarab as technical assistants today. Welcome to you also, Madam. Now we are going to the introduction of today's chief guest. She started her career as a teacher in 1982. She has served in many schools throughout her academic career for over 35 years and emerged as the best teacher. She ended up her service as a lecturer at Diet Udupi. She was the first coordinator for the English language empowerment training program held at Diet Udupi. This is the brief introduction of today's chief guest, Ms. Manjula Madam. I would like to request Manjula Madam to speak some words with our teachers.
Thank you, sir. It's my pleasure to participate in this program. And this is a very good upcoming program, I feel so. Because most of the teachers are facing difficult areas while teaching English in the classrooms, either in the primary sections or in the lower class or in the higher class. They're finding difficult areas like, and English is, though it looks easy, anything, but it is a bit difficult area to teach in the classroom because English is not our language. It is a foreign language, and once it entered as a foreign language, it took the third place, jumped to the second place, second language, and sat as a first language. Then now it is becoming the mother tongue in many of the Indian families. And most of the in the metropolitan cities, they are talking with their pets in English, whereas in the in the even ordinary layman, he is using minimum 50 60 words every day in English by knowingly or unknowingly. So that's how English has become the part and parcel of our life. And once when we enter as a teacher, it's our responsibility to make the classroom effectively. But teaching English is loaded with the many difficulties, many confusion status, like spelling is different from pronunciation, and even pronunciation has got different problems with the effect of the local area language effect and all. So our teachers very badly, they are in need of support of these type of programs. And I hats off to you people who are working to solve those problems, especially pronunciation, spellings, and how to teach. Most of the difficult areas you have chosen, and you're making them to be easy to teach in the classrooms more effectively, interestingly, and they are making more attractively also. And I feel proud to be the part of this program because as a teacher, even I had faced many problems while teaching in the classrooms because we are not supposed to use the mother tongue. But gradually we were forced to translate, but it had a very bad effect. And because of these programs, you are making how to teach, how to make your classrooms easy and effectively and most of the children, they are affinity to the language also. And I'm grateful and thankful to the team who are working behind the screen to make this classroom, to support the teachers who are teaching in the class without any hesitation. They are going to the classrooms by taking your help, and they are more confident in the classrooms also. I welcome I welcome this type of trainings. This is not a training, actually this is just like a brushing up. They know already. Even the grammar is a universal truth. We are not supposed to change. We can't change also. We are not do that. We are not doing that. Only our aim is to making them the classrooms more effectively in a simple way and also in an attractive way. Because nowadays, almost many parents, they are seeking for English speaking, English medium, and English language as their own. They are enjoying it, and we are got a responsibility to make it more effective, and that's how. And at the end, I think I can say that Ashok, you are doing a tremendous work, and you are choosing the best areas, difficult areas. You are choosing it and making them to access it in an easy way, Ashok. I hope you will do it in a your journey will continue, and best of luck for you, Ashok. Thank you for making me to join this program. Thank you, Ashok.
Thank you, madam, for your knowledgeable words and also for motivating us to continue this training program. Uh, the very purpose of this training is to series is to empower ourselves in our language proficiency and also to improve ourselves as in different areas of our personality. That's the main aim of this training program. I have focused on that area in your speech. Thank you so much for that. Thank you.
Thank
Now
you.
we are moving ahead to have the introduction of today's trainer. A corporate HRD trainer, a motivational speaker, a neuropsychological trainer, and a body language analyst, has more than 20 years of experience in soft skill training, has done more than 3,000 training programs for institutions, organizations, and corporates, has got 20 years of corporate marketing experience, has got many coveted certifications as an outstanding trainer. He is the Government of India certified trainer, JCI certified international trainer, certified NLP trainer and hypnologist, Microsoft certified trainer, and Indian Chamber of Commerce and Industry certified master business trainer. He is the CEO and chief trainer at the Training Club Cochin and a chief trainer at International Academy for Stage and State Hypnosis. He is an experienced sales trainer and also has got 20 years of experience as corporate marketing experience, has done more than 500 employee trainings programs for corporate organizations and MSMEs on a wide variety of topics like professionalism, effective customer management, over-the-counter selling techniques, making effective sales calls, effective sales closing methods, personal branding, art of body language, effective communication, etc. As a certified Microsoft Office trainer, he has done more than 200 workshops on Microsoft PowerPoint and more than 150 workshops on Microsoft Excel. As a certified NLP master trainer and hypnologist, he has developed a series of neuropsychological training programs based on his vast experience as an NLP trainer and hypnologist. As a passionate OBT trainer, has done outbound training programs for many corporates, organizations, and institutions. As a master faculty trainer, has done more than 300 teachers trainings programs across South India for both colleges and school teachers. Has been providing his services to LIC India, Bharat Petroleum, Malabar Gold and Diamonds, Cochin Shipping Yard, ICICI Bank, Lions International, Rotary Clubs, JCI India, Malayalam Maronam, etc. This is our today's resource person, Mr. Shibu Damodar from Cochin, Kerala. I would like to welcome you once again, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Shaw.
Now, we are heading towards the session. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you very much. Let me share my screen. Fine. Okay, great. So, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the training program, How Human Mind Works, or rather you can
Shibu, sir, you are not audible. Hello, sir.
if you know it clearly,
Sir, it got
as
stuck.
well as
It got stuck in
I-
between.
okay, fine, because in between again this net connection is having some problem.
Yes.
Don't worry, even if you are not able to see the screen, that is this PowerPoint slides, my sound will come to you. I have kept here two screens, so even if one screen is going out because of some net problem, other screen will be working because both are different net connections. So that happens because here nowadays the fluctuation in net connection is very high. Okay, fine. So we were talking about the need of having a proper knowledge about how human mind works, and you may be having a lot of questions like this, just like of course how mind works, and when you teach, what is happening when your students learn whatever you are teaching, and what is this? You might have heard about this short-term memory as well as long-term memory, and what is actually this short-term memory and long-term memory and how it works. And of course, this is a $1,000,000 question. We also think, our students also think, why we are forgetting things. After learning, when we are actually in the right time to recollect it and reproduce it, many a time we are not able to do it. And we feel that, yes, I forgot whatever I have learned and why it is happening. And of course, where is this all informations we are learning is stored in brain, and how brain is taking it out whenever we need it. I hope you will get the answers for, I hope you will get answers for all these questions as we go ahead with this training program. And if you're having some more questions, of course, we can deal with it at the end of the training program. We can have a question answer session. But I think in between, it is not better to ask questions because that may totally disrupt the flow of the training program and we may get delayed. So whatever questions you are getting in your mind during this training program, you can just note it down, or even you can type it in the chat box, because with the permission of the host, I have just changing the chat settings to admin only, because only whatever you are putting in chat box only admin can see. So only trainer can see as well as the admin can see. So you can put your questions in the chat box if you want. At the end of the training program, definitely we will be taking those questions from the chat box. And otherwise, you can note it down. You can ask in the end of the training program, at the end of the training program. Okay, fine. So let us start. I know all the participants are muted, and you may not be able to unmute yourself. I have changed that settings also, and Mr. Ashok knows. I'm a technical trainer and I do even training program for how to use Zoom. Okay, fine. So let's start from the very beginning, because mainly students or sometimes teachers also have this question in our mind and may not be having a clear idea about where is the mind in our body. Where is the mind in our body? And you can take it as a question to you. And if you have any idea about where the mind in our body, you can type the answers in the chat box. So let me see whether you are there in front of the screen or not. Anyway, you all are not coming in video mode, but to have an idea whether you are in front of the screen or not, you can just type the answer in the chat box. As I said, only I can see that answers or those answers. Or of course, the admins will be also will be able to see the answers. But if you have any idea where the mind is in our body, you can type the answers in the chat box, and I'm waiting for that. Sorry, nobody's typing. Either you don't know where the chat box is, or you don't know where the mind is. In both ways, yes, I got the first answer from Rashmi. Okay, I'm not telling the answer. Let me get some more answers. What is the mind in our body? Of course, we will not be interacting much during this training program, but still, let me have an idea whether you people are there or not. Only one person out of around 48. What is the strength now? Yeah, 48. Yes, Savitha also said the answer, also gave the answer. Yes, Lada Kumari. Wow. Where do you get this answer? That's great. I'm not saying what is the answer. And while reading this answer, Mr. Ashok will be happy. The third answer. Okay, fine. What about others? Oh, did you attend any of my training program? I don't know, because I'm not the only person who knows the correct answer. Okay, and Mr. Prasad Rao also said answer. Good. But still, I got only 5 answers. Okay, fine. I'm not pressing anyone. I'm not pressurizing anyone. Fine. So let's move ahead. I'm not waiting for more answers. Either you may be searching the chat box, how to write it there, or you may be searching where the mind is actually. Okay, fine. Normally, when we ask this question, we get 2 answers. And the first answer is obviously it is in our heart, because many a time when we ask or when we tell others, it is in my mind or I remember that, we always touch our heart and say. And still there are people who believes that the mind is in our heart. But actually nowadays most of us know it is not in our heart, but the educated people, having the exposure to scientific knowledge, clearly knows it is in our brain, right? Because most of the answers I got, except one, says it is in our brain. Okay, but unfortunately, both the answers are wrong. Whether it is in our heart or in brain, both the answers are wrong. But you may be thinking, if it is not in brain, where the mind in our body is? And the answer is very simple. Let me first tell you what is mind. You may be knowing, otherwise please learn this. Mind is not an organ, but a process. Again, you may be having some confusion. Not being an organ, how could something could be just a process? Yes, mind is a process, just like, for an example, our lungs, it's an organ, no doubt about it, but the process is breathing. And heart, again, another organ, and the process is blood circulation. And the same way, the organ is not brain, actually it is the neuron network in the brain, and the process is mind. Or you can say mind is the product of electrochemical reactions happening in our neuron network. It is that process, not an organ. So we cannot see or touch mind, but of course we can see and touch neuronal network or neuron network. And you may be knowing, or those who have given the answer as brain, or those who thought the brain is the right answer, you may be still thinking, Yes, neuron network is inside brain. So that means mind is also inside brain. But I don't know how many science teachers are there or those who have studied science in your school or colleges. You know, neuron network is not only in brain, but it is all over the body. So in that sense, we can say mind is also all over the body. And it is not only in our brain. And this mind, which is not only in brain but all over the body, actually controls all the physical actions of our body. Actually, the mind decides where to reach and when to reach and how to reach. Whether it is your future or your daily activities, it is the mind which actually decides where to go. And of course, we can say the seat of mind is in brain. So let us first learn actually how brain works, then we will move on to how mind works. Right. You may be knowing, and as I said, this is a little bit of a technical training program. So no motivational talks, no stories, no games, anything else. Usually when we do teachers training programs, we also include lot many activities. But this training program is entirely different. And I don't know whether you will be excited or happy in knowing actually what is happening in our mind, or actually what is our mind. Okay, let us talk about brain first. It is the brain, a very small organ. We can just keep our brain inside our both hands. That small is brain, and it's only 1 to 1.2 kilogram only the weight of brain. And you may be knowing around 70% of brain is water, or it is liquid. Okay, fine. And brain has got two hemispheres, and these things are very basic. You all know that, but still I'm saying brain has got two halves, two hemispheres, that is right hemisphere and left hemisphere. And both of these hemispheres have got their own individual duties and responsibilities. The left hemisphere is responsible for, and this teacher should be clearly knowing, and you should be actually communicating it to your students also, so that they will get a clear idea. And the duties or responsibilities of left hemisphere is that it is speaking and reading. It is the responsibility of left hemisphere, or left hemisphere is actually controlling these factors or these actions or these whatever we are doing. Writing and using language also, understanding numbers and quantities, performing calculations, solving problems, and thinking logically. So you can see now almost whatever we are doing or our students are doing inside the classroom is being controlled by left hemisphere. Now you may be thinking what right hemisphere is doing. The right hemisphere is also having its own duties. It is actually more of artistic in nature. It is painting, playing music, all other creative activities, recognizing faces and expressions, recognizing shapes and patterns, judging size, distance, and positions, of course, emotions and imaginations, imaginating or imagining things. All these are being controlled by right hemisphere. So you can see whatever normally happens outside the classroom is, or we call it as extracurricular activities, it is being done by right hemisphere. But actually it is not having this independent roles, because right hemisphere only will do this, left will not do this, or left will only do this, right will not interfere in it. It is not like that. Actually it is in combination with each other. They are controlling everything, but mainly the control is being by one of these hemispheres. Again, this recognition shapes and patterns also we do in our classrooms, I know, especially in science and math. And judging size and distance, position, all those things we do, but not as we do in our daily life, but as we do for learning and getting marks. And that's why that is being included as the works of or duties of left hemisphere. That's why I said most of the functions we do in classroom is being controlled by left hemisphere. Or in other words, we can see our left hemisphere is highly logical, but the right hemisphere, it is actually creative. So left hemisphere is logical, but right hemisphere is creative. And now, if we don't have a balance between the functions of these two hemispheres, our memory power comes down, and so-called intelligence also. Why I am saying so-called intelligence? Because of course we will have a discussion on intelligence at the later part of this training program, what is actually intelligence or intelligence is. So that's why again and again, whenever I use intelligence, I always say so-called intelligence, because in classrooms or in school arena, we always quantify intelligence based on the marks students are getting in their examination. And actually, you may be knowing that is not the real intelligence. And that's why again and again I'm saying the so-called intelligence. But of course, intelligence depends on many other areas, many other parameters, factors. Yes, we'll be discussing that. But just have an idea, if our students are not having a balance between their two hemispheres, functions of their two hemispheres, then their memory power will come down. Means they need not involve only in the activities inside the classroom, but also outside the classroom. And that's why nowadays, I don't know, you teachers are with state syllabus or central syllabus, CBSE or ICSE, because CBSE around 6 or 7 years back, they have totally revamped the curriculum. And this extracurricular activities also made a part of curriculum, not as extracurricular activity. Lot of researchers, lot of this project works, all those things have been incorporated in the curriculum around 6-7 years back. And in most of the state syllabus also, they are now incorporating this extracurricular activities along with the curriculum itself. So the bodies have actually realized the importance of working with the right brain also. Of course, please don't feel that these two hemispheres are working independently. No, it is working in hand, but of course they have certain roles and duties separately. Okay, now let us see. We said these things are being controlled by these hemispheres, and it is part of our whole brain, and how brain works. Let us see that first. And for that, when we learn, I'm always saying when we learn, whether it is students or teachers or whoever it is, when we learn, we are getting information to our brain through our 5 senses, okay, or sensory organs, you can call it as. And these 5 senses are, as you know, it is visual. We learn a lot of things by seeing. Even reading also we can see as through visual sense, because using eye only we are reading, we are going through the textbooks and notebooks. So all those information we are gathering through our visual sense. And the second one is auditory sense. We learn many things by listening to others, especially now. Of course, you are actually looking at the screen and seeing whatever is coming in that PowerPoint or PowerPoint slides. At the same time, through this earphone, you are listening to my words, and you are getting information through these 2 visual senses now. And those who are even listening to the YouTube live streaming, they also actually involving these 2 sensory organs or senses. And the third one is kinesthetic. We call it as touch or feel, because here 2 things are involved. It could be either touching, just like using our muscles, do and learn. or sometimes it could be even skin, that is feel and learn. So feeling and doing both comes in kinesthetic sense. And comes the next two senses. One is olfactory, which is smell. We learn many things by smelling it, especially in chemistry. I'm talking about school curriculum, especially in chemistry, we have to get sense. And of course, in college also, not only chemistry, but in home science also, we have to smell a lot many things, then only we will be learning certain aspect of it. And comes the last one, that is gustatory, which is taste. So these are the 5 senses we are having, and we are actually gathering or accumulating the information from the outside world through these 5 senses. And 65% of the information which reaches our brain is through visual sense. Means majority, more than 50%, more than half of the information we learn, more than half of the knowledge we acquire through our visual sense, or we are learning it by seeing. By seeing, majority of the information we are getting. And 20% is through our auditory sense. And auditory sense also very important, because many things we listen to and learn. We attend many training programs like this. We may attending many seminars, or we may be listening to audio clips, and we learn a lot many things. And kinesthetic feeling, learning by doing, it is 10% of the total learning. Though it is only 10%. Okay, I will come to the last two also. You may be knowing now the balance is only 5%, and this 5% is through olfactory and gustatory, because very few things actually we learn using our olfactory sense or gustatory sense. And as I said, the majority of the information is coming through visual sense, but the most powerful or strong sense or sensory memory is kinesthetic memory. All other memory centers are in cerebral cortex, just like you can see in that picture now. That is cerebral cortex. But this kinesthetic memory is placed in cerebellum, and that kinesthetic memory is the strongest memory, because whatever we do, we learn by doing, that remains in our memory for a longer time, maybe lifelong. And this information is very important for not only teachers, but for all students. Whenever they learn by doing, they will remember that for a longer time. And that's why those teachers who are incorporating many activities inside the classroom, their classes will become more energetic. Not only that, such information the students are learning from such teachers' class will remain in their memory for a longer time, because they are not learning for writing the exams or getting good marks. And as a teacher, your objective should be, when you teach in a class, your objective should be involving more number of senses of your students. Once again, repeat, when you teach in your class, your objective should be involving more number of senses of your students, because more number of senses you involve, more effective will be your class. Of course, you are involving the auditory sense, because when you teach, students hear that, they listen to whatever you are saying. So auditory sense is already involved, but you should also produce or show some visual aids related to whatever you are teaching. Of course, the board, you are using it as a visual aid. I don't know, you are having some smart classrooms, so that we can show some video or picture or something related to your that particular portion. Some other things also you can bring into your class, or you can ask the students to bring to your class, but that is different. You can bring into your class and show them. And the same thing, just like when you teach, I think in biology or in botany, when you teach about flowers, You can ask, you can show the flower and cut it. I don't know whether it is, which class it is. I remember somewhere cutting that hibiscus flower and showing the different parts. You can show one hibiscus flower and cut it and show that actually they will be remembering more rather than you just show a picture in your textbook. And when you ask the students to bring one hibiscus flower and do it themselves inside the classroom, then you are involving their kinesthetic sense also. And then they will never forget, because whenever they see a hibiscus flower, they will be reminded of all those portions they learned maybe in 7th or 8th standard. Lifelong, they will be remembering it. And that's the benefit, that is the power of kinesthetic memory. And I'll give an example. Even if you, some of you know cycling. If you know cycling, maybe you might have learned cycling when you were studying in school. That time, normally all of us use cycles. And nowadays, even if you are using, you may be using a two-wheeler. But still, even if today, if you get a cycle, you will be able to ride the cycle very well, because you might not have touched a cycle for a long period of time, maybe 10 years or 15 years or maybe more than 20 years. But still, if you get a cycle, you can, of course, when you first start, definitely getting a balance will be a little bit problem, but very soon we will get that balance and you will start pedaling the cycle, you will start riding the cycle. In the same way, if you know swimming, if you have not gone to any water body for a longer time, when you get into water by accident, then you will not say yourself that I have learned swimming long back, I actually forgot that, so I'll not be able to swim now, let me dive. It will not happen. You will start swimming even if you have not done swimming for a longer period. So that is the power of learning by doing. So it is, your objective is to involve the students to learn whatever you are teaching inside the classroom by doing it. So activities you can create, and actually that should be the real homework you all are doing in the classroom or the previous day of the classroom. How you will get one experiment out of the portion which you are going to take next day, and how you will ask them to do it. Actually, that should be done well in advance, because in today's class, you should be able to tell them in next class what all things should be brought in the class. Then they will really enjoy the learning, and that will be fresh in their mind. Okay, now let us come to the science part. We are getting the information through all these 5 senses, and this information is reaching the brain. And when it reaches the brain, it first reaches, we call it as environmental stimuli, that is whatever information we are gathering, that is called environmental stimuli, and it first reaches the sensory memory. For each of these senses, the brain has got a separate memory, and it is placed in the cerebral cortex, and they are called sensory memory. Actually, there are 6 sensory memories. It is not only 5, though we have shown only 3, because as you know, this gustatory and olfactory, smell and taste, they are only 5% of the total information gathering. So just we are not showing that. All other 3 sensory memory, visual, auditory, in kinesthetic, we are showing here. And there is one more sensory memory. It is called as somatosensory memory. That is entirely different. That is temperature, pressure, and all those things. Also gives a lot of information regarding what is happening outside our body. So of course, inside our body also. Okay, so those are in somatosensory memory, sensory memory. Okay, let us see only these 3 sensory memories, visual, auditory, and kinesthetic, because 95% of the information comes through these 3 memory centers or sensory memories. And this sensory memory is a volatile memory. Volatile memory means it will not hold, or it cannot hold the information coming to its memory, this memory. When new information comes, the old information will go out. It is just like our computer RAM. It is also volatile memory. When new information comes, old information will be getting deleted automatically. Same thing happens in sensory memory, because every second, thousands of information is being the thousands of information is reaching our sensory memory. Thousands of information reaching sensory memory, and when the next second, when next thousands or maybe lakh information is reaching sensory memory, naturally the previous memory should be washed out or deleted. Otherwise, it will not be able to hold all these memories which we are gathering, all these informations which we are gathering throughout the day. So that's why it is volatile memory, because our body is a very wonderful organ. It knows how to do what all things to be done. So that is why it is volatile memory. It will be deleting all the old memories when new memories are coming. And when we are attending a particular information which you are getting, because now itself you may be seeing lot of things. It is not only me or the visuals you are seeing in the screen. At the same time, you may be seeing whatever is happening inside the house, in that room, what is happening, and whether the fan is rotating or not, whether the light is there or not, and many other things you may be seeing. You may be seeing, but you are not attending to it. And many sounds are coming to your ears. If you are not putting earphone in both your ears, there may be many other sounds coming to your ears, but you may not be attending to it. And it is same thing happens. Let me ask you a question now. What is the color of the frame of my specs? You are watching me for last around 40 minutes. And let me ask you this question. What is the color of my specs frame? You can just type it in the chat box. And intentionally, actually, I switched off my video. And many a time it happens that we see many things, but we don't attend to it. We see many things around us, but we don't attend to it. And whatever we see, whatever images are falling on our retina, it comes to visual memory. But since we are not attending to it, when the new information comes, all these information will be deleted from that memory. I'm not getting any response in the chat box, so no problem. I just wanted to know whether you really attended to my frame or not. And even now, you will not be able to see what is the exact color of the frame. It could be, you may be seeing it as a black or dark some color, but actually it is silver. Okay, fine. I just wanted to give you an example. This is what is happening. And still I am sure, if I ask you, how many steps are there in your school to reach the second floor? You may be teaching there for maybe 10 years, 15 years. And if I ask you how many steps are there to reach the second floor, then you may be looking around and thinking, actually, how many steps are there? We don't know. And now, without looking, you are sitting in a room and don't look there. In that room, there is a switchboard. How many switches are there in that switchboard? Don't look there. Can you tell that? Many a time we don't know. Because that happens, we see many things every day. We listen to many sounds every day, and we experience many things every day. But mainly, or many a time, we don't actually attend to it. Okay, I got an answer for this. It is 10. It is step or switchboard. I mean switches in switchboard. I hope it is steps. If it's only 10 steps, it is easy to remember. But switchboard, it is 10 switches. That's a long switchboard. Okay, fine. Right. So that's actually what happens in sensory memory. Even if we don't attend to whatever information coming to sensory memory, it will be lost then and there, very fast. And if we attend to that, I'm sure now most of you might have counted the switches in the switchboard, because for the first time you may be doing that, and now you know how many switches are there in that switchboard. You have attended to that particular information. That information now shifted to short-time memory. But in short-time memory also, it is not a permanent memory. It's also a volatile memory. Whatever information comes to short-time memory doesn't remain there unless we actually shift it to long-term memory. So either the memory in short time, the information in short time memory should be shifted to long time memory, or it will be lost when new memories are coming to short time memory. It will be lost, same as happening in sensory memory. And only when these informations are shifted to long term memory, it will be there in our brain and in our mind, and we will be able to use it at a later time. So keeping the information to the long-term memory is very, very important. It is for you as teachers, it is important, as well as for your students also, it is very important. So what I request you all is you have to present this information to your students, how they are actually recording information in their brain. And if they don't do it like this, then they'll not be able to reproduce it whenever they need it. Maybe when you ask questions in class, or maybe they are facing an examination. So please inform these things to your students. They'll be more serious about learning it, because without getting a scientific explanation, when whatever you tell, study well, students may not be listening to you. So please give this scientific explanation, then students will be very happy. Okay, fine. To shift information from short-time memory to long-time memory, we are having only two ways. The first way is repetition. We have to repeat that information. Means now you know the number of switches in the switchboard, and again look there, yes, it is that number, maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, whatever it is, or 2, whatever it is, you know. And whenever now you reach this room, when you enter this room, when you switch on the fan or light, you will again, that information will come to your mind. Yes, there are 5 switches. Till this time, we were not having that number in our mind. We know which is the switch for this light, which is the switch for fan, and of course, which is the switch for that plug point. Everything we know that by heart. But still, we were not having a clear idea how many switches were there. Now we know. So whenever we see this switchboard, this number will come to our mind. So that again repeats, that information is getting repeated, and that will go to long-term memory. So even when you are not near to that switchboard, even when you are not inside your house, when somebody asks how many switches are there in that switchboard in that particular room, you will be able to give the correct answer, because that information is now in your long-term memory. So one option is to do repetition, repeat it again and again, so that that information will be saved in long-term memory. And second one is actually mixing some emotions to that particular information. That will straight away go to long-term memory. And in that case, actually, the short-term memory also doesn't make any difference, because once the information comes, and if it is getting mixed with an emotion, then definitely that will go to long-term memory directly. And I'll give you an example. When we go out, or when we are walking through a shopping mall or a market or on the road, we will be seeing many people there. Many people may be walking, may be roaming around, and we will be seeing every one of them, though we are not attending to all of them. We will be seeing everyone. All those images will be falling on our retina. It will be reaching our visual memory also. Sometimes when we see somebody, we feel, oh, this is that person, that either that student's father or mother, or is it that the old student in the house, or is that other person's neighbor? So some familiar faces we are having. So we will attend to that, and that will reach our short-term memory. But it may not go to long-term memory. But when we meet somebody, and that creates some kind of an emotion inside us, when we meet maybe one of our close friends or close relatives or the teachers, then that creates an emotion, maybe some excitement or happiness. So automatically that information goes to our long-term memory. And it need not be positive emotions. It could be sadness, it could be anger, If something happened in a shopping mall and you actually shouted at some person, that memory will be there in long-term memory. That will not remain in short-term memory and it will be lost. It will be there in long-term memory because emotion is mixed. And same thing happens with every memory which created an emotion, that will go to long-term memory and it will be saved there for a longer time. Okay, now let us come to the first portion, that is repetition. So as I said, when an information comes, it will first come to sensory memory, that first level. Only when we attend to it, it will be shifted to short-term memory. And only when we repeat it, it will go to long-term memory. But this repetition, again, for repetition, there's a pattern. Of course, when we repeat it, it will go to long-term memory. And once it is there in long-term memory, it is a permanent saving. Permanent savings, not savings, it's a permanent saving that is happening there. It will be permanently saved in long-term memory. And of course, you may that memory may go down, but it will not get deleted from long-term memory. So that's why even if that some memories are, when we think about it, that may not come to our mind, but somehow after some time, suddenly that will come because it is there. It has not deleted, it will be there. So whatever information is coming to long-term memory, it will remain there. But again, even if it is there in long-term memory, we have to repeat it again and again to keep it at the surface of the mind. We will be able to use it whenever we need it. So we have to actually repeat it. Otherwise, even if it is the information has reached the long-term memory, if we don't repeat it after 24 hours, it will come down. Means it will go down and new information will be covering this information. So we have to actually repeat it once again within this 1 day or 24 hours so that that information will be fresh in our memory for next 7 days. And after 7 days again, that it will not get deleted, but that will actually go down in our memory and we will not be able to actually recollect it. And if we repeat it within 7 days once again, then that memory will be fresh in our mind for next 1 to 3 months. And within that 3 months, again, if you repeat it or remind yourself, then that will be there for a longer period, maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years, maybe lifelong, depending upon what kind of an information that is and what is the emotion you are having or emotion you have mixed with that particular information. And so once again, reminding you, the first, we had to repeat it within 24 hours and within 7 days, then 1 to 3 months. This is the normal repetition pattern. And this is not a new information to any of the teachers. Some of you may be thinking, this is a good information. I am hearing it for the first time, but not. You are not hearing it for the first time. Actually, you all are doing it and telling your students in your classroom. Because every day when you teach in your classroom, you always tell your students, listen in the class. Listen in the class means whatever is coming to their sensory memory, at least let it come to short-term memory. Only when they listen, that will come to short-term memory. And only when they learn that day itself, you always say, no, within 24 hours, that is that day itself, when they learn that again, then that will go to their long-term memory. And these 7 days, as everyone knows, we always say every weekend you should be learning it. Whatever you have learned in that week, you should be revising it at the weekend, Saturday and Sunday. That works as the second repetition. And the third repetition, 1 to 3 months, comes automatically because you know either as a monthly test or as a quarterly test. The examination comes, and definitely before that, students will be learning it again. That will work as the third repetition. And once they complete these 3 revisions for the final exams, they will not forget these portions. So if you tell them in this way, giving a scientific explanation what is actually happening in our brain and mind, then they will learn, they will repeat, or they will do revisions. Otherwise, if you tell them listen in the class, attend in the class, you have to study today itself, and you have to repeat it again in the weekend. That is a normal cry all the teachers are making in all the classes. We have also heard this when we were learning, when we were studying. So it will not make any impact on the student. You have to give a proper scientific explanation to this. And then I told about these emotions. Emotions, why we are talking about emotion means you might have seen this picture somewhere, because we have divided the mind into conscious mind and subconscious mind. And conscious mind is actually, it is directed towards the outer world. We are analyzing, planning, thinking, everything. And short-term memory is also in conscious mind, or conscious mind. Short-term memory can be termed as conscious mind. And subconscious mind, it is called the long-term memory. And there are a lot many other duties for or activities happening in subconscious mind. I'm not talking about conscious mind and subconscious mind. In between, there is something called critical mind. And critical mind is actually a protector of subconscious mind, because subconscious mind, whatever is reaching subconscious mind, or we can call it as long-term memory, it will remain there lifelong, and actually subconscious mind will believe it. Only when they believe it, the information will come to long-term memory. Or as I said, by repetition also. It will come, even if we don't like the information, even if we don't believe in that information, still, if we repeat it, it will come to long-term memory or subconscious mind. But in between, there is something called critical mind. When a new information comes, this critical mind asks lot of questions. And only when it gets satisfactory answers to all these questions, it will allow this new information to reach our subconscious mind or long-term memory. And these questions are like, when a new information comes as a environmental stimuli or information from outside, it keeps a lot of barriers in front of that particular new information. The barriers could be like this: who says that? Who is telling this, or who is giving this new information? If that person is really an expert in that particular area, then we will believe that, yes, he knows about it, so we can believe that. Then is it relevant to me at this point of time? Of course, this doesn't come in our classroom, because there you are the authority, and that is really relevant. But whatever information we are getting from outside, when we search for some references, we pose these questions when we get new information. From which source we got the information, whether that is authentic, or is that information relevant to whatever I am preparing now, and of course, is it at par with my existing knowledge? Can I connect to one of my existing knowledge? Otherwise, it's of no use to me. I am teaching biology and I am getting some information about chemistry. It is of no use to me at present, so I will not take it. I want information regarding biology or regarding that particular subject or that particular portion. And of course, it is general. Is it related to your belief system? So all such questions this critical mind will ask, and only when it gets a satisfactory answer, then only the new information will come to our subconscious mind or long-term memory. But this new information, if it carries any emotion, if it is mixed with any emotions, then none of this question arises. When a new information comes, for example, any of the information in this training program, if you feel, wow, that is great, then no questions asked whether I need that information now, whether it is as with my existing knowledge, no information. You will take it. It will be stored in your long-term memory, because that was an exciting information. So that's, and again, what is the relevance of this for teachers? Of course, as an individual, this relevance is that now you know how information is being stored in mind, in our brain. And that's why we always say, you forgot whatever you learned last day, but you didn't forget the picture you saw last day. Okay, the cinema you saw last day. We always tell our children, students, and this is what happens there. That film creates a lot of emotions, maybe happiness, maybe anger, maybe sadness, but each and every scene is actually creating some kind of an emotion in our mind. So that's why those informations are saved directly in our subconscious mind or long-term memory, and we are able to reproduce it. And some of the scenes we may not be able to remember. Sometimes we think such scene was there, I don't remember, because we only get an overall experience, an emotional experience. Okay, fine. So now we will come to a very important question which you all may be having in your mind. Why do we forget things? This is a very, we can say, a $1,000,000 question you all may be having in your mind. And of course, as a student, we all were having this question in our mind when we were studying. And as teachers, if you could tell why we are forgetting things to your students in a scientific manner, then students will do what they really need to do so that they don't forget things, whatever they are learning. Okay, so before going for that, just listen to the, or just read this quotation. It is very important. Just as eating against one's will is injurious to health, because when we eat something which we don't like, then there are every chance that we may vomit that. Or if something which is not good for our health, it goes inside, naturally body will try to throw it out. We call it as food poisoning. If that food item is going inside, we call it as food poisoning. And either by vomiting or by loose motion, the body will try to take it out. And in the same way, learning without a liking for it spoils the memory and it retains nothing it takes in. If you are learning something which we don't like, we not at all liking that subject, that portion, still we are learning, actually the brain will not retain it. Even if by repetition that reaches our long-term memory, it will not remain there. It will go down very fast and we will not be able to take it out that easily. And sometimes that actually spoils the memory, means the connection to that particular long-term memory may get affected because we don't like it. So that's why it is your duty to make the students like your subjects. And it always so happens that if the students like the teacher, they will like the subject. And if they don't like the teacher, they will not like the subject. We also know, we were also students. Okay, so liking for the subject means they like you as a teacher. And if you really want to get the liking of the students, please try to involve more number of senses of your students or sensory organs of your students in your classes. So that is up to you how to do it. Even olfactory as well as gustatory also you can involve. It is up to you to decide how to do it. Okay, now we are going a little bit biology or science, or we can say anatomy. Of course, this is said by Leonardo da Vinci. You may be knowing Leonardo da Vinci as a great artist, but he was also a well-known educationalist. Okay, fine. So, neuron. Why I am talking about neuron? Because we have given this term long-term memory many a time during this training program. Actually, long-term memory means the nucleus of this neuron. Not this neuron, nucleus of the neuron is called long-term memory. All the informations we are sending to long-term memory is being stored in the nucleus of different neurons. Okay, and you know, the nucleus, the neurons are being connected to nearby neurons. And I don't know how many of you are remembering this we learned in 8th or 9th standard, because the dendrites are actually getting information from nearby neurons, and either it's stored in that nucleus or it will be passed over to the nearby other neurons through axonites. Okay, it's just like you can compare it with a tree. Because the roots are actually absorbing food and nutrition, it is using in their body, or after that it's actually it goes out to the through the leaves to the outer atmosphere. Same thing happens in neuron also. If you keep the neuron upright like this in a vertical manner, then it looks like a tree. So this way, if you are teaching about neuron, you can keep a tree with that and you can explain. So whenever they see a root, they will be thinking about dendrites. Whenever they see these leaves and branches, they will be thinking about axonites. So that's why how to involve more sensory organs of your students. Fine. As I said, each neuron is connected to thousands of nearby neurons. Okay, and that forms a neuron network or neuronal network inside our brain, of course, throughout our body. But we will take only what is happening inside our brain. So this is what is called neuronal network. And the possible, okay, that is the most important thing. This you should be knowing. The possible neuronal connections. Okay, according to National Academy of Science, a single human brain can a greater number of possible connections among its nerve cells than the total number of atomic particles in the universe. In the universe, not in India or world, in universe. So that many number of neuronal connections can be there in a human brain, but it will not be, because neuronal connections are, because whatever neuronal connections our brain can make, it will not be making that much. It will be making only needed neuronal connections only. And that's why many a time we tell we are only using a very few percentage of our total brain. We always say, no, even Einstein used only 14%, 16%. It doesn't mean Einstein used only just 14% of the total brain. He might have used the whole brain, but the number of neuronal connections are only 16% of whatever the brain could make. Okay, fine. Now, let us see what actually happening in our brain through these neuronal connections. I'm just showing a video here, and I don't know how good you can see that video. It is actually what happens in
brain cells are not done forging links with billions of other brain cells. Eventually, there will be trillions and trillions of connections between cells, charged with electrical pulses.
Okay, fine. I'm just, sorry. I was trying to.
Billions of hills and valleys of the brain's deeply furrowed tissue.
Sorry, when I was trying to.
Billions of brain hills and valleys.
Okay, let me stop the video there. Let me explain what actually happening here. So you'll get a better idea why we are forgetting things. When we think, these thoughts are, or we can call it as thought packets, that is electromagnetic packets. It moves from one neuron to next neuron. I'll just cut the video audio now.
Deeply furrowed tissue.
Okay, so you can see the video and listen to my voice. So that light packets, that actually it is a thought packets, it is passing through the neurons or neuronal network. When we think or we are facing a question and we are searching for the answer. So this thought packet will be searching for answer in all the nucleus of the neurons. And that's what you are seeing, that glow. It is searching for the answer in each of these neurons. It will come to one neuron in one nucleus. All those things are nucleuses. And one nucleus, it will search there. And the information is not there. It will go to the next nucleus. It will search there. If information is there, it will come to our mind, or if you want to write, it will come to your hand. If you want to talk, it will come to your tongue. And if that information is not there, it will go to next neuron, search there. If it is not there, it will go to next neuron. And this searching will happen very fast. In a fraction of seconds, around millions of nucleuses will be searched in a fraction of second. And if the information is there, of course, we will get that information. If it is not there, we will not get it. Now, it is searching in one nucleus. The information is there, it will take it. Otherwise, it will go to next nucleus, provided there is a connection. If there is no connection, then it will come back and try to go to another neuron, and there also there is no connection, it will come back and go to another neuron, and if there is no connection, it will come back, it will go to another neuron. And this will happen, that slowdown of this whole process will happen if there is no proper connections between these neurons. And the connections between these neurons, and they are not actually permanent. The connections between these neurons are not permanent. It actually increases and decreases every day, because new connections are happening every day. The existing connections are actually detached every day. And these number of connections, we call it as number of synapses. Synapses means the connection between two neurons. It determines our memory power and intelligence. Our memory power means your student's memory power as well as your memory power. And if more number of connections are there in our brain, more number of neuronal connections are there in our brain, our memory power will increase, memory power will go up, and the so-called intelligence also will go up, because we of course calculate the intelligence based on the memory power we are having. So if you are having more number of connections, means more memory power we will be having. It is very easy to understand, because if the connections are there, the searching will happen very fast. If the connections are not there, it will try to go to next neuron and it will get stuck, then we will be just doing like this. I know the answer, I was knowing that, I have read it, I was actually learned that, I read it somewhere, I know somewhere it is there, but I am not getting. It is there, we always say no, it is there in the tip of my tongue, but I am not getting it. You are not getting it because the neuronal connection to that particular neuron where you have saved it, it may not be there, or it might have gone weak. So this search is not reaching that particular nucleus, that particular neuron. That's why we are not getting it. But sometimes later, sometimes if a search is going near to that particular neuron, into some other neuron and searching for some other information, and suddenly it may go to that nearby neuron, and suddenly you will get, yes, that is there. That day that person was asking, I didn't get that answer, and now I remember that. Because of some other reason, our thought went near to that neuron, and somehow that thought went into that neuron, and suddenly it found that, yes, that information is there, and we are remembering it. And this is actually what happens when we think. And if you are having more neuronal connections, means you are having more memory power. And this again, it's in your hand, and it is just like every day, as I said, then more new connections are happening, and every day the existing connections are actually shrinking back. And it is just like place like this. If you walk through a walk through a place where there are lot of grass, then you can see a path will be coming. A path will be actually happening there. A path will be actually coming out there every day if you walk through that particular grass. But at the same time, even if there is a path, if you don't use that path for a longer time, the same grass will come and cover that path, and there will not be that path again. So this happens in our brain also. If you use our brain and give new information every day, the brain will form new neuronal connections, and it is called neuroplasticity. This phenomenon is called neuroplasticity. At the same time, if we don't use our brain and we are doing the same thing for a longer time, and we don't give new information to our brain, even the existing neuronal connections will shrink back, and our memory power will come down. Most of you are maybe subject teachers, and you are teaching this subject for a maybe 10 years, 15 years. You may be using the same textbook, the same notebook, your notebook, not about children's notebook. The notes you are putting in the same notebook, you are using the same notes, so that you are using the same thing again and again every day in every class. So you are not feeding any new information to your brain. Brain is using the same information. So whatever areas which you are not using, brain is just detaching those neuronal connections. So along with that, you may even lose some data, means you will not be able to read that particular nucleus. So you may lose some data. And this is what is actually happening when you are not using your brain properly, you are forgetting many things. You will be only remembering whatever you are using every day or every week, or maybe in your case every year. That only you will be remembering. All other informations, it will be there in the brain, in the nucleus, but the connection to that nucleus might have lost. But of course we can regain that information, provided you give new information to your brain, so that the brain start making new connections to new places. That will actually improve our memory power and the so-called intelligence. Many a time I'm saying the so-called intelligence because earlier we were only thinking about IQ, intelligence quotient, because intelligence quotient only takes the arithmetic as well as logistic and sometimes linguistic aspects only. But nowadays, as you know, from 1983 onwards, when Howard Gardner put out this new theory of multiple intelligence, even the education system also now behind the system of multiple intelligence. This not only this logical or arithmetical intelligence, but also many other intelligence are there with every person. It could be, of course, as I said, logical or mathematical. It could be linguistic, those who are having good communication skills. It need not be speaking, even it could be writing. Those who are writing well, they are also having very good linguistic ability. Kinesthetic, or we call it as bodily, what we are doing with board, maybe sports persons, bodybuilders, those who are having that martial arts people, those they are kinesthetic, having kinesthetic intelligence. And musical intelligence, those who, the singers, music directors, and those who are playing the musical instruments, they all are having musical intelligence. Visual, those who can visualize things, maybe architects, engineers, those people. Interpersonal, those who are good in making relations. And intrapersonal, those who are able to look inside, just like yogis and other people. And of course naturalistic, those who are can live along with nature. So there are different intelligences, and students and people may be having one or two of these intelligences which will be dominating. Of course everyone is having all the intelligences, but one or two intelligence may be dominating, and depending upon that they will be doing their activity. And that need not be always logical or linguistics, because we only evaluate logical and linguistic abilities in our curriculum. So getting a small or letting a lower mark in the examination doesn't mean that person is not having intelligence. It may be because their intelligence is in some other area. And you may be knowing Sachin Tendulkar. Sachin Tendulkar is considered as a successful person, and he was an expert in batting or in cricket, but he failed in 10th standard. He was having kinesthetic intelligence more than linguistic or logical intelligence. He was not at all having logical linguistic intelligence also. You can see whenever mic comes to him, his speaking is not that good. His communication skills are not good, but he communicates with his bat. And just think, when a ball comes to him, when the bowler is bowling, he can evaluate at which angle the bowler is putting the ball, at which speed it will be coming, and where exactly the point where it will be bouncing, it will be touching on the ground, and at what angle it will be coming to him, so that he will be able to strike that ball, and he can keep that ball to boundary or wherever he wants. All these things he will be evaluating in a fraction of a second, But if you put this as a question in a math question paper and give it to him, he will have any idea what to do. So that is the difference between logical intelligence and kinesthetic intelligence. Doesn't mean that they don't have intelligence. They know everything, but in a different way. So the teachers should be actually knowing the concept of multiple intelligence, and they should be actually implementing it in their students also. And when you see this different kinds of multiple intelligence in the two hemispheres, you can see the logical things are in the left hemisphere and the artistical things are in the right hemisphere. And that's what we said in the beginning. There are logical brain as well as artistic brain. So once again, reminding you, the memory power or intelligence of a person, of course, some of it are genetical, but most of it are environmental. Why I'm saying? Because the genes are the bricks and mortar to build a brain. When we build a building, of course, the basic units are bricks and of course mortar, the cement or sand, whatever we are mixing with it. And it is actually building the total, that building or that house. But the environment is the architect. How to build that house, what should be the size, what should be the look, everything is decided by the architects. And here in an individual's case, the environment is the architect, and one of that environment is the school environment, and you as a teacher decides how good or how intelligent your student should be by actually giving a proper scientific explanation to how human mind works. Then they will also understand actually what is happening to them and why they are responding to certain things in this particular way. So they will also get that idea, provided you as a teacher is able to give a clear explanation about how the memory is working, how human mind is working, how brain is working. So it was an introduction to human brain in a nutshell. And once again, thank you very much for, it's almost, we have taken around, out of 90 minutes, we have taken around 85, 82 minutes. And once again, thank you very much for listening to me, because I know this is not a motivation training program. It is purely a technical training program. And once again, thanking Mr. Ashok for the invitation, and happy to interact with teachers of Karnataka. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Shibu sir. It's actually an excellent training program with a lot of rich inputs, knowledge, and information. I think all of the teachers are benefited with your resourceful inputs.
Sorry, I think you're muted.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir, for your resourceful and knowledgeable session. The inputs you have given are very, very resourceful. I think it will be helpful for all the participants who are there on Zoom and also on YouTube. Around 50 plus teachers are also watching on YouTube online, and 50 plus on Zoom also. Thank you so much, sir. I think we can receive some questions also in this regard.
Yeah, definitely. Anybody is having any question, you can ask. If you, of course, you are English learners and teachers, you can ask in English. Otherwise, you can ask in Kannada, as Mr. Ashok may be able to translate it. Okay. Or you can just type it in the chat box. It's up to
yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you have any questions related to the topics which are discussed today, or any other topic questions related to memory, you can ask the Shibu sir. Come on. I think most of you have some questions or doubts regarding memory. Is one of the topics is like that actually. Do you have any questions? You can unmute yourself, or you can type in the chat box. Shibu sir, I have a question actually.
Yeah, please.
Whether the hereditary factors affect the memory power of an individual?
Yes, because in the form, actually our neural network forms in first 2 years, almost. Neural, not network, the neurons are being formed in first 2 years. And the beginning of the year, actually that starts from our womb itself. There, the hereditary factor as well as the, we can say the nutritional factors also affects a lot. And that's why you may be knowing in the first trimester, the mother is having this, what is that drug? oh, I forgot that drug. One particular drug they are having in first trimester, because then these neurons are being developed. That is very important. That drug is very important for, it is not actually a drug, it is a vitamin. Sorry, okay, I just forgot that name. So that is very much necessary for the formation of neurons. And from there onwards, of course, till 2 years, the genetic factors there. Genetic factors are there. How many neurons to be formed, and of course, but neuronal connections. The number of neuronal connections are based on the environment, your family environment, of course, your social environment, and your education environment, where you are studying, the quality of the school, quality of teachers, everything actually decides a lot about your memory power and your intelligence. Means the number of neuron connections.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Anybody else would like to ask any questions?
Sir.
Okay. Who is on the mic?
Sir.
Okay, please go ahead.
Sir, you told.
Please introduce yourself first.
Sir, I am Prakash Shetty.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay.
Prakash Shetty.
Prakash, sir, please go ahead.
Sir, you told learning without liking for it spoils the memory and it retains nothing. Yes, I agree with you, sir. Then 90% it's okay, sir. But in each and every classroom, we can see slow learners. They don't like any English activities. They don't like any language games, etc. They forget everything. How can we make them involved, sir?
Okay, I'll give an example. The slow learners, actually, there is, of course, slow learners actually, it is based on their psychological disorders. That is an entirely different one, because they are having some physical problems. Okay, that we will just remove, because there the approach is entirely different. But others, it is not actually slow learners. Actually, they don't like to learn, or they are not interested in studying. These are the, we call it as backbenchers. Okay, these are the people who are not at all interested. It is actually not because they don't have memory power or intelligence, because I have seen many students when they were studying, especially in Kerala, because in Karnataka, again, usage of Hindi, it is there, but Kerala, nobody speaks Hindi unless some Hindi speaking person is coming to them. So learning Hindi, many of them found it very difficult, and they were getting 5 or 6 marks. But the same people, when they went to Mumbai for on their professional for professional growth, when they went to Mumbai, they learned Hindi very well, very fast. So it is not about the learning ability, it is about their interest. That's what I said. Even without interest, if you learn, of course, you can learn it, because many of the students learn things, study things without having any interest towards that particular subject. They just by heart it. They repeat, and that repetition also takes information to long-term memory. But that will not remain there for long. It doesn't mean that it will not be there, it will be there, but the connection to that particular memory will be lost very fast. And later on, we will not be able to even remember it. But if you are having a real interest towards a subject, then one, it is very easy to by heart it, remember it, or store it. And at the same time, it is very easy to reproduce it also, even after a long time. Okay, so that is the difference. It is all about interest. Because why these backbenchers are not studying? Because they don't feel the importance of studying well, or nobody is there to motivate them to study well. Nobody is there to tell them what is the benefit of studying well, because they may be having some other priority. They may be having some other intentions. So that's why they are not studying. So that is actually the role of a good teacher. Or we always have counselors as well as students counselors. But rather than that, the class teacher or any subject teacher can be a good friend of these backbenchers. Then I have seen many backbenchers, when they reach high school classes, they're totally turned and they will become among first 5 or first 3 in the class. So it is not because of their lack of memory power or intelligence. It is because of their lack of this interest. That only happens there.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Anybody else would like to ask questions? Do you have any questions? Or at the same time, we can also share your opinion about this training program also. No need to be the question always. You can share your opinion also.
Okay, somebody asked how to improve our memory power. It is very simple. And as I said, our memory power means the number of neuron connections in our brain. And if you want to improve your memory power, you have to increase the number of neuron connections. And the best way is to feed the brain, the mind with new information every day. New information doesn't mean always read books. Even that could be a new skill or a new interest. And of course, certain games also, just like chess and other games, that also actually improves the number of neuron connections, because every time we are making a new move and every time the opponent is also making a new move. And anything, if you learn how to make a paper flower, that's a new information. So any new information will actually improve the number of neural connections, and in turn that will improve your memory power. So usually what happens with teachers is that, as I said, they'll be using the same notes for a maybe 10 or 15 years together, and they'll be doing the same thing in their class. So except those information, they will not be having any other good information in their brain. And very fast their memory power will come down. And once the neuronal connections are separated, the chances of getting Alzheimer's is also more. So please feed your brain with new information every day. Learn new things, read new things. It could be even watching TV, surfing through your social media, but you should be getting new information, not just surfing, but you should be actually attending to new information. Because just by surfing, it will reach only your sensory memory, and only if you attend to it, you read it and read again, and you are thinking how I can use it in my class or how I can use it in my life, then that will reach your long-term memory. Only when that information reaches your long-term memory, then only that will actually create new neuron connections. Otherwise, it will just come to your sensory memory, it will go. You just saw it. Because most of the messages in WhatsApp and Facebook, it is like that. When we see, okay, good, then we forget that. It doesn't reach our long-term memory. Fine, because I was just got a question from the chat box.
Okay.
Because I'm getting a lot many thank you messages in directly. You can now it is open to everyone. You can just select that everyone option and keep all the messages there. Okay, fine. Somebody was asking something.
Hello.
Yes,
Sir. Hello. I'm Savitha. Hello.
Hello. Who is
can
on
hear.
mic?
Sir. Listening? Savitha. Hello.
Savitha, madam, your voice is breaking.
Could you hear, sir?
Yes,
Okay.
Savitha Umesh.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it's a nice class about how our mind works. Sir, we are working with primary school students. For which extent we should explain the science behind our memory?
Primary school students, of course, if you explain the way I explain to you, they will not be understanding anything. But you can apply that. As I said, if you can involve, because especially in primary students, if you can involve more number of sensory organs, then they will be interested in that. At present, they will not be interested in the scientific facts, but they will be interested in involving in the total curriculum and learning things. Okay, so try to involve them.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Hello. Hello.
Shashikala, yes.
Sir, the session was very nice, sir. Nicely you have linked your subject to our subject, means our teaching field. Very nice, sir. It is very informative. One more question, sir.
how to keep information for long term. In that concept, you have explained. First one is repetition, and second one is mixing some emotions to that information. You have told that, but sir, my question is related to some our subjects, means social studies or science or mathematics, means some calculations or some definitions. In such matters, it is not possible to connect those informations to some emotions, no sir. In such case, it is best to repeat the information. Is it no, sir? For mixing some emotions to that information, it is very rare, I think. For example, some years. For example, if we want to remember the year 2002, like that, in such dates, we can link those information to some emotions. Otherwise, repetition is the only one method to keep information for long term. Is it, sir?
Okay, repetition you
Not
can
clear?
use. Yeah, I got it. See again, actually that is the actually the role of a teacher. How to make your subject interesting. If you are teaching history, as you said, creating interest or doing giving some excitement is not that easy. But that is the duty of the teacher, how to make this particular portion interesting to the students, whether it is maybe some as Second World War or First World War. So you can even create a drama or a that role play in the class, because in Second World War, who all were there in one side, who all there in other side. You just make just a name board and keep 3 or 4 students on one side, 3 or 4 students on other side. By seeing this, they will remember who all were on one side, who all were on other side, and then how it goes about, how it went, the Second World War went, and who actually defeated who. All those you can actually, using a role play, you can demonstrate. And once you demonstrate this, the students will be very clearly understanding what actually happened in Second World War, rather than just reading through the textbook. So they will not forget it.
Yes, and we also arrange some debates regarding topics.
Yes, actually, as I said, the visual memory is very good memory. So whatever they see, it will be easy for them to learn. Actually, memory stores information as pictures, not as text. It stores information as pictures. Even if we by heart a formula or a definition from our textbook, it is being saved as a picture, because you will also understand, when we think about a particular definition, how we are actually recollecting it. We are first thinking about that textbook, then thinking about that particular chapter, that particular page. In that page, at the top of this, that definition was there. So we are actually remembering that picture, whether it is notebook or textbook.
Visualization.
Or we are remembering that picture of the teacher taking that class, or teacher wrote it on the board. Everything is saved as pictures, not as text. So if you can give a visual appeal to whatever you are teaching, then students will be able to understand it more. And of course, in training program,
for long time.
Yeah, in memory for a long time. And teachers also, because Mr. Ashok will be knowing that, we always say trainers, the best visual is the trainer himself or herself, because the more we use our gestures, as well as we actually act in front of the audience, then more the information will be actually passing through their mind. So in the same way, if you just sit in your chair and read the textbook, nothing will happen. If you just stand on near to your table and you just read the textbook, even if you tell them, it will not have any impact on them. But you just, we call it as, what is that word we are using? Just like, it is kind of a drama. The acting, the teacher also should be doing. It's again, in effective communication, we say there are ups and downs in the communication. We had to sometimes increase your volume, decrease your volume. So they will have a feeling
Yes,
something
sir.
is happening. Otherwise, your
Voice
class will be dry.
modulations.
Voice modulation is also
Voice
there.
modulation.
Otherwise, the class will be dry.
Yes, sir.
And for
Thank
this, you need to prepare in advance. And that is many a time teachers don't do. They will have a ready-made
Yes,
note
sir.
with them. They will just take it, go to the classroom, and just tell them and come back. We always say there is a very simple difference between communication as well as effective communication. Communication means it is being done for the sender. I wanted to tell that, I told it, that's enough. But effective communication means you are doing it for the receiver, those who are listening to you. You want them to understand it, and you want them to do according to what you are saying. So that is what is called effective communication. The teacher should be an effective communicator. You are telling for the students, not for you to complete the portions. If you have that
Yes,
feeling,
sir.
then it will be fine.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, nice, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Anybody? Any last one question is can be received?
Okay, there was
Anybody else?
two questions in the chat box. Could you name food habits which helps to increase memory power? Food habits, there is no special food, just like as in it is seen in some advertisements. The normal food, that is vegetables, fruits, and cereals, or of course non-vegetarian also. All these foods are good for our brain. So there is no need to go behind any advertised food. There is no need. And is it possible to avoid unnecessary memories? There is no unnecessary memory if it is being memorized, that is necessary for our life. You mean unpleasant memory? Yes, there is no way to forget an unpleasant memory, because unpleasant memory carries more emotions than pleasant memories. That why it is being stored deeply in our brain. So, of course, there are tools, but again, that's part of counseling. Otherwise, to forget unpleasant memories, it will take time. Otherwise, it will be there in our memory afresh.
Okay, sir. I think the questions are over. Sir, we are going to breakout room. Before that, I would like to conclude this session.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful session. Actually, the things which are discussed in this session are very resourceful, very useful for our teachers. When they go back to their classrooms, they may think about these things, and they may apply or adopt these things in their learning and their teaching learning process also. Thank you so much for being with us for around 90 minutes and answering and convincingly all the questions which are raised. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ashok, for the invitation, and happy to interact with all these teachers of Karnataka. Thank you very much. So I'm leaving. You can move ahead with your proceedings.